Now, authority. Authority is the power and right to give orders and enforce obedience from citizens. Now, there are three sources of authority. Firstly, from existing traditions and customs of a state or of a land. Then secondly, from legal means, that's from constitutional means, that is the authority of a government to give orders or to create laws and regulations, and in the constitutions guiding that certain state. Then thirdly and finally, there is charisma. This kind of authority is gotten from the extraordinary attributes of a person. Let's take Nelson Mandela for example. Nelson Mandela could get obedience from a lot of people based on who he was and his achievements. He could, to a certain extent, tell people how to act and order their conduct in a kind of manner. Now, there are different types of power that we shall be considering. First of them is political authority. Now, this kind of authority is derived from the Constitution. It is in the Constitution for the government to give these laws, and it is the duty of the citizens to obey these laws. Now, the second kind of authority is coercive authority. This kind of authority is attained through force and through sanctions. Thirdly, charismatic authority. Now, this kind of authority is the authority gotten or that is given to somebody based on the extraordinary attributes of the person or extraordinary behavior or conduct of the person. Take somebody like Nelson Mandela or Barack Obama. Then fourthly, we have positional authority. This authority is based on the position the person that owns this authority, that attains this authority, has. Fifthly, we have delegated authority. Now, this kind of authority is authority delegated or authority given to a subordinate by the actual owner of the said authority. Now, lastly, there is traditional authority. Traditional authority stems from customs, traditions, and rule of the land. Let's talk about democracy. Democracy is a system of government where adult and qualified citizens of the state share or attain power either directly or through an elected representative. It can also be defined as a government for the people, by the people, and of the people. This definition was given by Abraham Lincoln in one of his popular statements or addresses to his citizens when he was the president. Now, there are two types of democracy. You have direct democracy and indirect democracy. Now, direct democracy is where all the citizens take assembly and determine how the policies that affect them go. They deliberate on these policies and make new policies if need be. Then you have indirect democracy. Here, citizens of the state that are eligible vote their candidates or vote their representatives through elections. These candidates represent and govern the state. Now, there are some features of democracy that we can consider. First and foremost is periodic, regular, free and fair elections are held. There is respect for the rule of law. Then the rights of the minorities are respected. Then majority rules the state. And lastly, guarantee of rights of the citizens are protected. Moving on to legitimacy. Legitimacy is derived from the Latin word legitimus, which means lawful or according to law. Legitimacy can also be said to be a political system which is deemed appropriate because of how in line it is with the desires of a certain state, or how lawful it is, or how appropriate it is deemed. There are certain conditions that make a government legitimate. The first one is popular participation. This means that interest groups or the populace, the population, can be able to actively take part in affairs of politics in that nation. The government gives them provisions how they can take part. Interest groups like mass media, like pressure groups, like political parties. Secondly, this government must be a good government. That means it produces certain necessities, or it provides certain necessities and amenities, and its policies are not too obnoxious. Thirdly, there is support. Now, for a government to be deemed legitimate, it has to be supported by the public. It has to be supported by the people this government or people this system is in charge of, or this system is controlling. And lastly, its relationship with other states deems how legitimate it is, or the legitimacy. The legitimacy can be deemed by these states based on how the government treats these states. In our next video, we shall be discussing more concepts of government like sovereignty, political participation, political socialization, and political culture. Thank you.